Welcome back to the Tim Voxelbaum Show. This is episode 72 of the program. It's good to be joining you back. It's been a long week for me, man. It's not been that long. The week actually hasn't been that long, man, because time is going faster and faster as we age, man. Time's going by pretty fast. Actually, I was like, it went by fast, and I know, like, I was dreading how long I would have to wait, how long I had until I had to record another one of these podcasts. I was like, okay, it's only Sunday. We got many more days that we don't have to worry about. See, I don't have the ability to do this podcast very often. Once a week is too often sometimes, so I had to take a day delay to get this episode going. Last night would have been the time that I would have normally operated the podcast recording on, but I was not feeling good. I was not feeling up to it, man. I was on a new stimulant, and I wasn't stimulated enough from that stimulant. Wasn't a good enough stimulant for me. I need a lot of different kinds of stimulants. Amphetamines, caffeine, methamphetamine. That's also an amphetamine. Methamphetamine is just another kind of amphetamine. It's the best one. It's a methyl group. It has a methyl group in it. We'll get more into that later, man. Let's start off on let's not start the episode on meth. I mean, sure, you could be on meth, but you have to talk about it. You have to talk about it. The fact that you're on it so often, man. Just let's ease into it. Let's start on an easier subject. Okay. We're going to start on the sober update. How's that going? Well, I'll be honest. I got this is a self-improvement podcast. It's the Tim Voxelbaum Show. I don't know. I assume I mentioned that at the very beginning when I was just trying to figure out if I'm still new at this. I'm still new at talking to a camera today. Haven't done it in a week, and it doesn't come natural, man. It ain't coming natural right now. Like, I'm yelling. I feel like I have to yell to reach, which is stupid. I don't have to yell, but this microphone is far away from me. Look how far away it is. I'm not comfortable with that, man. It looks like so far away. So, but it's picking me up. I know what I'm doing. I tested it. It brings up the lows. If I'm talking quiet, you could still hear me. So I could talk soothing and quiet, but I'm looking at the waveform, and it's tiny. The waveform is tiny, so I'm relying on digital gain. I want analog gain. Analog gain, man. Boomers had it right with that analog, man. Analog is better than digital, man. Analog gain. So that's why I'm yelling, because that's analog gain. That's acoustics. But we're not going to put the mic any closer to my face because I like how it's far away. It just looks cool that it's far away, because then it's whoa, man, the mic's so far away, but I can still hear him. How's that work? Well, that's the whole point of why I got this studio equipment. That's why I designed this studio, to have all this acoustic paneling all over the walls. It's so that you could put a microphone far away and it still picks up. You could turn up the gain on the mic input on the preamp, and you could still hear me as if I'm talking close up to it, because the room is treated so you don't hear the room as much. You don't hear all the sound bouncing off the walls. That's the whole point of why I spent thousands of dollars just so I could put the mic a little farther away from my face. Isn't that cool, man? You don't even really need the mic, man. You need a mic, but these days, you don't really need a good mic. But this mic is the thing I'm using. It's not a fake mic. I'm not using anything. This is the only input for my voice. There's no backup mic. Anyway, that was audiophilia is something I'm sexually attracted to. I'm sexually attracted to audio fidelity Fidelity, I'm a geezer. I'm an old man, man. Old men like that kind of stuff. It's usually old men. Like, young people get into it, but they just, it ages you very quickly if you're into that type of crap. If you're into, like, audiophilia. Never gets old, but, like, the people that like it get old. But, it's one of my hobbies, man. It's an expensive hobby, dude. It drains your bank account buying, like, nice microphones. This is not a very nice mic. This microphone does the job. It's a $200-ish microphone. $260, I think, is how much I spent on this cute little microphone. It's not a famous microphone, and that's fine. It's not about pretentious equipment. It's about what it sounds like, and it's modeled after a famous microphone, after the U48. The Neumann U48 or U47, I don't know, one of those. They're pretty much the same to me. I don't know the difference. That's a vintage mic that they don't make anymore. That's what this is modeled after. It has the same like the schema. But anyway, I think it's a good quality microphone for $260. A lot of bang for buck. That's reasonable. That's not even that crazy. The other microphone that I was using for most of this podcast is more than that. Like $350 I spent on that Shure SM7B, but I got bored of the way it sounds. Like it's this huge microphone that it looks like it's this big black microphone that looks ugly. It's not the most sexy looking microphone. I like the grill. I like the condenser mics. So we switched to. I just wanted to change it up, man. But the Shure, the SM50, SM7B, I also got tired of the quality, the actual sound quality. It just sounds flat. Like, it does the job. That's why people use them. But like, once you get used to the way they sound, it's not as lively as a condenser mic would be. That's a dynamic mic. It just has this kind of like flatness to it that I got bored of it, man. I wanted something more sensitive and lively to pick up even more of my faults, man, my imperfections, the clicking, the saliva. I wanted to pick up more of my mouth sounds, the unappealing part of it. Anyway, and then there's the post-production. Then there's the signal chain that compresses it and brings up the lows. Okay, this is boring. I get it. It's boring. But I'm not using a de-esser. So it's picking up all the S sounds. I tried using a de-esser. It's like, what's the difference? Is it really necessary? Yeah, probably. If you really okay, but that's something I haven't gotten expertized on. I'm not really good at like EQing, like, come on, does it have to be perfect? No, but once you learn about anything that goes into this, once you know how much better it is, when you do know about de-essing and EQing and compression, then you have to do it for everything you do going forward for the rest of your life. That's just how it works. For anything that I figure out, it's like, okay, now I have to do that for every single podcast I ever do. Or I'm going to be like, well, what am I doing? That's just how it is. Other people are like that. People that are into that type of stuff, that learn about it, they go, oh, you got to use a compressor, man. What are you doing? You got to use a limiter, man. You didn't master, you didn't level, or you didn't normalize your audio. Like, some of this stuff is like super basic. Some of it a little more nuanced. The lighting, I'm still obsessed with the lighting. Not enough. I don't want to spend more money on lighting. I just want to figure out the right angles and in colors, and like, I'm still messing with. This is still the color of my skin, and I can't. The lighting that I have just makes me look how I am. It just makes me look yellow or white or pale, pasty. I want to look tan, man. But I'd have to get a different light. Like that light that's coming from this direction I could make yellow or tan. I could make it orange. Like I could make myself look like Donald Trump with that light. But then maybe next episode I'll try switching it up. That's the more powerful one. That one's like way farther away. That one's like 4 feet away from me. 5 feet. It's like far away. It's pretty far. Anyway, I don't like it's another hang up. That's an insecurity that comes out whenever I turn on these lights and turn on the cam. It's like, dude, you need to get more sun, man. You need to get a spray tan. Get a spray tan, man, because then it'll give you confidence. That's it. It's worth the money, man. Do we have to go on a tangent? Like, part of this is like, part of everything I do, I need confidence to do it. I don't like leaving the house without confidence, because I'm just going to be like, ugh. I'm going to come back feeling bad, worse about myself. And like, what's the point of going out if you're going to feel worse for doing it? So the point of getting a spray tan is it's probably, I don't know, it probably costs like easily at least $100 to get a woman that's not afraid to do it, to spray tan a dude. That's creepy to them. They don't want to do that. So it would cost a lot of money, man. It's pretty much like that's where most of the money goes towards is them being comfortable, like looking past the trauma of. But anyway, once I get the spray tan, I'll become so much more confident. I'll just be easier to be around. It's not shallow. I don't care what other people see. If they see a guy, oh, he's tan. He got a spray tan. It's not even a real tan. What a douchebag. Like, that doesn't really, you're not getting the point, man. It's like, it's not just it is, sure, I look like, if you really knew me well, you wouldn't judge me because you'd be like, oh, he's insecure. Like, okay, people would still judge me, but I'm trying to say, oh, okay, that's my pill alarm. So let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. You're bouncing off the walls, man. You're all caffeinated up. You're all roided up, man. You're on testosterone. I'm not on testosterone. Natural. I'm not taking external testosterone. I would consider it. Probably not necessary at this point. I'm pretty, Anyway, sober update. I'm 100. I don't know. I'm a year and a half sober from alcohol. I do think about going back to that one, but then I have these things that stop me from doing it. I'm not going back to it, but I'm starting to, it's been enough time where I'm starting to romanticize drinking, because it was so much more, because it makes you have fun. But then you got to worry about, driving home, and then the next day you feel bad, not just physically, not just the hangover. I sleep through that anyway. Who cares about the hangover? I was very good at not having problems with that. The hangover. But anyway, I am a year and a half sober from that, and we're just going to keep going, man. Because if I fail, then all the people listening that look up, that like use me as like a sponsor, that have like a parasocial relationship with me, they will be like, well, if he's off the wagon, I'm going to go off because this is a sober. Anyway, that's what one of the things about this is like being self-improvement. Sobriety is under the umbrella of that. We're trying to go up in improve. We're trying to like improve the quality of our personality, of our lives. It's not just internal, how we feel. It's how other people see us and how other people. Because if you're drunk, other people will probably have a better time around you. If you're just that sober guy who's like miserable, people are going to be like, ugh. They're not going to want to, they're going to be like, okay, next, give me somebody else to talk to that's not a drag. Yeah. So anyway, there's a myriad reasons why people like alcohol. I was really good at liking it. I really liked it. I was good at that part. I could talk about alcohol for a long time. Wow. And then there's weed. I'm off weed. I quit that. Pretty much, I'm done with that, man. That was that one, I just grew out of. I don't know, man. It had benefits, man. Like, it was a great end of the day thing to do, but I was addicted to it. I needed to do it at the very beginning of the day, man. It's really not that bad of a drug if you're doing it in moderation, with a modicum of moderation. If you're just using it as a lifesaver, if you're using it all, as soon as you kind of get your day going, that's where it kind of got like, okay, this is not, it doesn't lead to where I want it to be. It was not killing, it was not the worst thing. Like I'm saying, like I was still achieving for a little while. I was able to still achieve some things on weed, even when I was smoking all day. But it didn't really feel like I was. It didn't feel like it, man. Like, it just everything felt kind of numb and meaningless at the end of the day, because it just kind of numbs you and makes everything feel dull. So fuck weed, like it gives you that jolt of dopamine, and it makes you it's really good for getting started on tasks, but that's not finishing them. Horrible drug for finishing tasks. Great for getting started on them or getting things done that you've been putting off, like procrastinating, but then you probably won't finish. That's what's good about it, is that it's a good starter for getting monotonous tasks done, because of that surge of good. It just makes you want to get hyper focused on one boring task. It just makes it so exciting. Be like, oh, I'm gonna sweep this. Anyway, I gotta take a pill. I take many pills. I'm a pill popper, but this one is not a bad one. This one's not a controversial one. It's just for epilepsy. I kind of have to take it. It's not very debatable, like, if I should take that one. People don't really give me a lot of flack for taking anti-epileptics. People just go, oh, what pill is that you're taking? And I just go, it's a boring pill. You don't want to know. And then if I tell them that it's for epilepsy, I feel like they just go, oh, okay. And then I just feel like I just told them something that's personal. And it's like, you didn't need to know that I have epilepsy. All you were asking was if it was like ecstasy or some and I'm like, and it's like, so I don't need to say what it is. I don't like revealing things that's personal, and they just go, oh, okay. Like, it's not their business, man. It's not your business what pill I'm taking, man. Like, like when I take fun pills, I usually hide it. I wouldn't just take it in front of somebody. Anyway, that's when I don't have any shame. Nobody has shamed me for taking epilepsy drugs, and that's why I take them on the podcast. I wouldn't take like Adderall on this. I wouldn't just pop Adderall, because that one's way more controversial. That one is way more debatable if you should. So, but I don't really want to. Anyway, what were we talking about? Sober update. So we were talking about weed and how I kicked that to the curb, and I'm telling you about the benefits of it. How it's great for getting started. Like, if you have to pay your taxes, it'll give you this jolt of anxiety of like, what the hell am I doing? Pay the damn taxes. And then it makes it actually kind of fun to comb through every little step they have to get through. It's like, okay, I gotta comb through every little file to get through and make sure I'm doing it right and get all the deductions. It hurts to pay it. It always sucks to pay taxes. Anyway, but then you pay it, and it's like, okay, and then you feel kind of good about yourself. You could finish a task on weed. I finished thousands of tasks on weed, but you got to keep redosing. And you have to tell yourself, come on, stop going down these rabbit holes and tangents. It's really tough to finish a task on weed because you'll keep like judging, is this the right way to do it? It could be better. It could be more perfect. There's a more perfect way to do it. And then once it fades off, you'll be like, there's no point in doing it at all. There's no point in this at all. I'm trying not to be too dark on this podcast, but anyway, so weed, it has an arc. It has you get this rush of anxiety and willpower to be like, okay, do it now. And it's exciting. It makes boring stuff exciting. So if you do have to do your taxes whatever. Weed is not the worst thing if you have a tolerance to it and if you have ADHD, if you have what I have. It's not for everybody. Some people just zone out and it's like, whoa, I can't do my taxes on weed. Are you crazy? I can. I did a lot of things on weed that are very mathematical. You mess up all the time. You push code to the live server and you lose thousands of dollars for a bug that obviously, that happens, especially on weed. Your short-term memory is horrible on weed. But that's the price you pay. Because without weed, I wouldn't want to be doing it at all. I'd be like, I don't want to be a fucking programmer. But weed makes arbitrary work very fun, man. Programming becomes fun on weed, man. That's when you could actually dig into the really, oh man, we gotta refactor this whole. It just makes that more fun. But anyway, then you push bugs and it costs thousands, not millions. Thankfully, I haven't lost millions on a bug. But that's only because I don't have enough power to do that. I don't work for corporations. I'm self-employed. Anyway, I'm not a programmer anymore. I'm not even a programmer. I'm a podcaster, and that's why I have a lot of anxiety. Because I'm not making that programmer money anymore, man. Dude, those were good money times. I didn't know how to invest it. I did a horrible job when it came to investing my finance, from my salary, my wage. And I wasn't creatively fulfilled at all. This is my job. This gives me some creative fulfillment. Zero money though, so that's why I'm still. It's super. I got to figure out a way to make money from this, and if you're not likable of a person and you're the product, and nobody likes it, and you're the product, that hurts a lot. But also, it doesn't. You're not gonna get paid at all. If zero, even Andrew Tate. Some people like him. So you have to be really unlikable. But anyway, I think that's not the problem. I just have to figure out a way to market it and just improve the quality of it. Which, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it might. Let's be positive. Let's be a little more optimistic. I think the quality will go up as I grow and use more outside content, I'm gonna have a hotline. I'm gonna do what Theo Von does, which maybe not, because it's very unoriginal. Just copying what he does with his hotline. He has a hotline. So, okay, but is that really that? I don't know. I do kind of still want to do it, but that is not good to just copy somebody else's idea. So maybe not. I'll think of a way to make it my own version of that, something original, because that's another. I don't want to do so. This is, I'd rather be bad and original than a worse version of something that's good. So, like, it would still be bad. Yeah, yeah. Everybody has their own way of making things funny or entertaining. Theo has a specific way that he, whatever. Money is a huge concern for anxiety. It's a catalyst for anxiety. If you're making money, positive cash flow, that's a huge keyword on recent podcasts of the. I'm very. Let's just finish the sober update, then we'll go on to like financial stuff, which is that could also, I could talk about that for a long time. Sober update. I'm very bad at getting through that. I'm still doing a lot of mushrooms. It's really weird. It's a weird thing to be doing like almost every day. I guess I don't like talking about this, man. I don't like talking about the fucking substances that I'm taking, man, because there's a lot. It's still a decent amount, man. But I'm on a train, and then the Adderall, the ADHD meds. It's another thing that I'm anxious, that I'm kind of like not really in the mood to talk about. It's like, do I really want to talk about that, bro? And I don't really feel like I need it, man. Like. Not today. Today, I didn't really feel like I needed those the stimulants, but the coffee certainly helps. So okay, let's rein it in. Of course, I need stimulants, but like that wasn't the whole issue, man. There's other issues. So the sober update, I'm still completely sober from like everything that I care about. Mushrooms doesn't count. That's not in my program to not take mushrooms. They have positive qualities to them, and they get you inebriated, kind of like not really intoxicated, because it's such an introspective thing. Your brain doesn't shut off. And paired with the Adderall and the whatever meds I'm on for ADHD, it really is it magnifies the mushroom experience because you become hyper fixated on just one thing, man. You could just stare at something. Yeah, you could just get so hyper focused on the and then the mushrooms kick in, and today, when I also took mushrooms, I'm sorry that this is such a drug. This podcast is so about drugs. Well, I got news for you. I kind of am a drug guy. I'm kind of a druggie. And if somebody calls me that could be like judge. I could take that the wrong way, of course, but I'm owning up. I'm owning up to it. I'm owning the fact that I'm an addict. I have an addictive personality, and I am currently using mind-altering substances pretty much on a daily basis. I considered not taking mushrooms again today. There's usually a reason I do them. If I have nothing to do, and if I don't have to be at my best, then I don't take them. But today, I had to be at my best. This is an example of me at my best. Yesterday, I also had to take them. Yesterday, I had to do a show. Turns out I didn't have to do the show. It got canceled. It got rained out because it was outdoors. But I was, I was kind of looking forward to it, also very anxious about it. And I was like, well, you got to take mushrooms. Of course you're going to take mushrooms. The question is how much. So I took the right amount. It was great. I'm getting pretty good at taking these things. But you always got to ride the line. The second you take too much, it's horrible. It's like, okay, I don't like this. I don't like what it's telling me. I don't like this weird this over encompassing feeling of like doom and like how like, oh man, you're just a little tiny, you're gonna die soon or something. You're gonna die, even if it's 40 years from now. That's still not that long. So it just reminds you of all your. It's very like not fun. As much as I think it's gonna be fun, it's never. When you take just a hair more than you want, the psychedelic experience, for me at least, it's not like a fun drug. That's why it's not really that addicting. Like, once you've had enough, you've had way more than you need. But then why do I keep doing it every day then? Well, because a light dose is pretty fun. It becomes blissful. So it's complicated. So I still do mushrooms. So I still do mushrooms all the time, and I don't see myself, I might. See, the reason I do it is because I have to. I need them. I'm getting something out of them. It does improve my mood. It gives me the serotonin. It gives me the self-love. It kicks off a cascade of better behavior. It does. I'm sorry. It makes you actually realize the importance of taking care of yourself, like why you should actually care about things that matter instead of just knowing it in the back of it just makes life more real, man, and it puts you in the present. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep doing them for now because I'm not mentally well, and I do research on this stuff. I research like, is it okay to do mushrooms like every day? And some people, and you don't really get much. You don't really get like a lot of information on this because most people don't do that. Most people don't do it. They don't take mushrooms every day. They have a job. They just don't have access to them. They don't want to. That's the biggest reason, is they don't want to. If you're crazy enough to where you want to do mushrooms every day, something is very wrong with you. And that still doesn't mean it's a necessarily bad thing to take them every day. Because that's really, there's worse things you could be doing every day. So if, like, everybody that I've read about that also does this, it's temporary. They don't do it for years and years. They just do it until it gets old. And they also usually have a background for being addicted to other drugs. So I'll get through it. It's something that is giving me positive benefits. I'll know when it's enough. And there's, like I said, there's really not really any unhealthy downside. Like, I don't really notice any downsides other than like, I feel like I'm dependent on this other drug now. I feel like I'm kind of dependent on it. I'm using them as a crutch to get that serotonin, to get me into the right mood to where I could be extroverted and enjoy the rest of the day. So it is, I am using it as like a crutch, I guess, as kind of a medicine, and also for recreation. But obviously, I'm being honest. I have nothing to. I'm not lying. I know that there's something seriously wrong with me, that I have to be taking mushrooms every day, or that at least I want to, that I think about it like pretty much every day. How much am I going to take today? And I don't really have a tolerance. The tolerance thing is not a problem, because I just don't have that. I don't have I could take them every day and they work. I haven't really built up a tolerance to them. So anyway, that's enough about mushrooms. It's a big topic. Everybody's doing mushrooms these days. They're very in style. And it's fine to be in style, man, as long as it's your style. I like that. Anyway, like anytime I take even a small dose of it always like makes me feel like clever. Like it makes me feel like, oh, that's clever. Okay, so let's get over the sober update. So I'm still sober. I'm sorry, maybe not, but according to my program, I am still sober because mushrooms, they're not something I'm trying to be sober from. It's maybe in the future I'll have to swear off mushrooms. That's not really something you have to do that with. You don't really they're not that addictive, man. Okay, right now they are. But once I find something else that's healthy, maybe I won't have to do the mushroom. I don't know, man. I just think it's fine. Even if I still do them as often as I'm doing them, like Joe Rogan does them pretty often, and look how he's doing. I have a feeling that, like, it's improving my life and my personality. So, like, there really isn't that many negatives of doing them that often, man. I'm not... my mental health is not really getting worse by doing them. It really isn't. I don't have lingering effects like that HPPD, and I'm not doing other ones. I'm not doing acid. I know that I don't have any desire to do because it's super easy to overdose. That one, forget about that one. Mushrooms, I'm getting it so down to a science. I know pretty much what each dose is going to do to me, man. And I always think it out very deeply before taking them. I don't just go, yeah, screw it. Let me just take another 200 milligrams. Yeah, boom. Let me just take half a gram. No, I know what I'm in for. And, so anyway, it's improving my life. So that's not one that you really, even if I never stopped doing them, your brain is on the whole time. All you're doing is kind of opening up your mind. So even if it's like coffee. People get addicted to coffee, but it's not really destructive. Yeah, it is. But there's benefits. The benefits outweigh the negatives. Oh, you're cranky. Yeah, it makes you more cranky when you're not on coffee. Makes you irritable. That's anything. That's any stimulant. So you could, and that's one, nobody really goes to AA for coffee. So anyway, that's what mushrooms are. But if, I don't know, people should take more of them. I think it's good that I'm subjecting myself to the discomfort of mushrooms, because it is a very disconcerting. It's not fun. It's only fun when you're past the hump, or when they're first coming on and you're ready for it and you're in a good mood. It is pretty awesome. Sometimes you don't get anxiety, actually. Sometimes it's just a perfect dose and you're having your mood is in the right place where it actually just feels like nirvana. It just feels amazing. Giddiness, you just get this nice, soft, cuddly feeling, and then you just kind of zone out. You get, not zoned out, but this mushroomy feeling that's distinct, and you get, happy. You go oh, yep, these are mushrooms. It's this familiar feeling that you never quite can pinpoint what it's like, even if you do it every day. It's oh yeah, that's what it is. It's this silly, this mushy, malleable. Okay. It's a great drug. But then if you take just a slight more than you're comfortable with, it does get really dark and heavy. And oh, why do I have to do this so often? Why do I do this to myself? And yeah, and then you get caught in these negative thought loops of what is this? Anyway, but that's part of it. The fact that I'm subjecting myself to that slippery slope of I always come out of it feeling better. It always ends up making the rest of the day feel positive. Anyway, so who cares if I'm addicted to that? Because just don't drive. Just don't get into a car. Don't do anything. Don't operate heavy machinery. It's not something. It is like, it matters. You shouldn't take it lightly. So when I say who cares, I don't mean there's no like possibility for harm. There's a huge possibility for harm. But right now, it just takes maturity, and like it takes being an adult, because you'll get slapped in the face if you don't respect them or whatever. We talked about that, respecting the substance, but also respecting yourself. Okay, we spent enough time on that. So I am sober as hell. I'm sober. Not completely. Because I'm not relying on any substance to get where I'm at, to feel healthy. I'm still relying on psychoactive substances. So it's, there's always that asterisk. There's always that caveat. Coffee is super psychoactive. It gives you this adrenaline, and it's fun. It's good for creativity. So I don't know, man. You just have to balance the harm, the benefits versus because coffee, it leaves. I don't like the fact that it stains my teeth, and how if irritability and then the coffee breath. So people. I just am looking at how other people, like a kid, how they would see some dude, some old guy in his 30s. Because when you're like 10 or whatever, 8, somebody in their 30s is like old. That's like an old adult. And you see their chest hair, and you see their nose hair, and the coffee breath, and the stained teeth, and you see that they're irritable. That concoction they're gonna not have a good memory of you if that's all it is. Just irritability, bad breath, chest hair, sweatiness. If they just know you as this like druggy, this negative guy, they will only remember you as like, ugh, that guy was old and did a bunch of coffee. Now I don't want to do coffee, and I want other people to do coffee, man. Coffee's pretty good. So I'm very like critical. I'm trying to improve my personality, man. I don't want to just be like cursing all the time, like just being a bad example to my kids. If I had let's say I had kids, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to have kids to become to be the best version of yourself. It doesn't take until you have kids, and even then, it doesn't always kick in. Even then, you gotta make the decision for yourself to be a better person, to actually be sensitive to how other people might perceive you before the behavior happens. Don't course correct, just stay in line before you even say the wrong thing or do a thing that hurts somebody. Just be aware from the beginning before you even do it. And that's what empathy is. I have a little thing called empathy, but I gotta care about myself before I can help other people. Like that's why I have to be in the right temperament. I do want to improve other people's existence, man. I don't want to just be a sap and suck all the energy out of the room. I want to add rainbows and lightness to the room. I don't want to just be a negative Nancy. So for me to do that, I have to figure out what's wrong with me. I have to be in a good mood. And that has been the struggle. So we're done with the sober update. We're still sober and we're not happy. My mood is pretty low. Right now, it's actually not that bad. I'd give it like a 60% for today. That's pretty good considering how it was the day before. So let's get into that. Sober update done. How long have we been recording? Okay, so I know that we've already been recording for like 45 minutes. But hey, sometimes it takes me a while to get warmed up. So anyway, the sober update, yeah. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm losing weight. I'm trying to, that's another thing. Binge eating. Food, using food as a drug. Of course I'm a food addict, and then people go, "Oh, no, you're not fat. You're not like a food addict. That's so dramatic. Oh, you're a food." Yeah, because I purge. Yeah, I know I'm not fat, because I purge. That's part of what it is. That's part of being a binge eater. It's like, we do it because we have to, because it feels good, because it tastes good, and it makes you feel great afterwards, the fullness, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm such a piece of shit. And then the shame kicks in. You catch yourself in the mirror. You catch yourself looking thick. And then the shame, and then you purge. So yeah, you could be a food addict and not be overweight. I mean, what is anorexia? People with anorexia, they purge. I don't know if they're not food addicts. That's the difference between binge eating disorder and anorexics. They're not like addicted to food, I don't think. They have this self-image problem. I don't know if they're addicted to food, but they definitely purge, right? They definitely like try to limit their intake of food, so they have that in common with binge eaters. Binge eaters, yeah, they're the ones that are addicted to food, man. But then they purge because they don't like the overweight part. Their self-image it's still important to them. So that's what food addiction is. If you're just a food addict, you just love food, but there's no like shame in the fatness, in the getting fat part, I don't think that's binge eating disorder. That's just like gluttony. That's just like, okay, I don't know. I'm not an expert. But that's what I am. I'm the category. I have the symptoms of binge eating disorder. I don't know. I'm not super well versed in it, but purging is part of it. So you could be not super overweight and still be a food addict. And that sucks, man, because you got to let the tiger out of the cage every day, pretty much. Unless you fast. Fasting is a form of purging. I fast, man. That's how I fast. I love fasting, but for other reasons, not just for the purging, but it does help with my self-image, my self-confidence, because if I know that I've been fasting a certain time, it's like, okay, I don't feel the food in my stomach, and I don't feel my gut hanging out. So it helps with the self-confidence. Same with the body tan, the spray tan. I'm that sensitive to things like that might seem shallow, it might seem like superficial. It's like, really? Like, because not everybody has that problem, man. Some people could be perfectly fine being overweight. It doesn't affect their self-confidence at all. I don't know if you've seen these people. They're called Walmart shoppers. Because obviously if I couldn't go to Walmart, be seen at Walmart. Just being seen there at all is already pretty shameful. But to be seen there also overweight at Walmart, you don't have the same problems as me. You clearly don't have shame. And I'm not saying there's anything even wrong with that. Being a little bit overweight and going to Walmart, I don't care. I don't really judge other people. I mean, okay, I do. Of course I do a little bit. But I'm just saying, it's not the worst thing. It's not like a deal breaker if somebody's maybe it is. I would at least be friendly. Like, I'd be friendly to these people, but I probably wouldn't let them in my inner circle or date one. I definitely want to date a Walmart shopper that's overweight, especially, but even just just even like a girl, she'd have to be like super hot. I just feel like just being a Walmart shopper. Like, sure, there's something like endearing about it. So maybe I could look past it. But it's like, you probably don't have your health in order. Like, you probably don't have your priorities in order. You're probably like not taking care of yourself. But I like that innocence. I like the innocence of like a woman that goes to Walmart. That's something I could certainly look past. It just isn't a good sign of like mental like intellect. You know, it's just a sign that like maybe she's not going to be the sharpest tool in the shed. So, you know, maybe not wife material, like maybe not mother material. Because, come on, at least go to Aldi. And I am being serious. I'm not even, this is not even like a joke. It's not funny to say this, to be like, oh, you wouldn't date a Walmart shopper? That's very, like, douchebaggy, contentious, like, it's very, like, mean. It's like, elitist. But it's not really that elite. It's like, come on. There's better options than Walmart. And it's just like, it's not the fact that it's Walmart. I would buy something from Walmart out of convenience. It's if you kind of go there like all the time. If you go there all the time, it's not the fact that you go to Walmart that's the problem. It's the fact that it's just a sign. There's a correlation that if you do go to Walmart, you're probably just not the sharpest tool in the shed. That's all. So it's just a stereotype. It's just something that shows, and I'm not wrong here, there's a correlation. You're probably not that smart. So that's why I like I like smart people. I want to date a smart person. I want to be like, whoa, that was smart. Shit, that was clever. I don't want to just date somebody that's like everything they say, I have the same reaction, which is like, why'd you say that? Did you really? That's what you said? That's what your brain is doing? That's who I'm dating? So no, I'm not an elitist. I just want to be around somebody that's actually going to make me go, oh, that's smart. You know, like, yeah. I want to just date somebody that just has that just everything they say is dumber than anything I would ever say. Like, the smartest thing they say is still something I would be like, yeah, no shit. So, sorry. I have high intellectual standards. I'm not a dumb guy. I sound dumb. I say dumb things, probably, like, very often. But then I go, oh, that was dumb. I'm not that dumb. I'm sorry. I know that it sounds bad. So anyway, I like smart women. I have high standards for women. I do. That's why I'm single. It's because it's out of choice. And because I can't afford it. I can't afford it, man. My budget is super tight. I spent all my money on the equipment surrounding me. And I don't have really have any room budget-wise for more expenses. I'm living lean. Anytime I buy anything, I go, is that really necessary? So I'm down to ramen noodles, man. Like, that'd be horrible. Those things make you fat. Anyway, I messed up. So I think we're done with the whatever I was talking about with Walmart and obese, binge eating, fasting. Because food is really expensive right now, man. Like food, especially if you get it delivered. If you get all your food delivered, there's always a convenience charge. So I'm losing, my expenditures on food are astronomical. So that's pretty much my biggest expense right now, probably, is food, Jesus. So I screwed up. So finances, it's not that I screwed up that bad, because it's just that I'm not making money. I'm not making any money. And so I got to get serious. I got to get serious about this podcast, like even more serious. I already take this pretty serious, but I got to get even more serious. Like Joe Rogan, he's like probably my biggest influence for podcast. A lot of things, like lifestyle, But his podcast, even when it very first started, the reason it's so successful, one of the reasons, not just because he was the first to do it, he wasn't the first to do it. He took it seriously. He took it super seriously. Like, he didn't even like when people did jokes on the podcast. He doesn't even do jokes on his podcast. He just gets hyper focused. He just goes, "Wait, what'd you say? You're trying to make a joke on my podcast? I take this seriously." He takes that as an affront. Nah, he takes shit serious. Like, when he blogged, he used to have a blog, like in the 2000s. He took that seriously. He takes life seriously, man. So I don't know what's going on. Like, he has a non-serious side, and people certainly would think that he's like a dumb guy, and he would call himself dumb, but that doesn't mean he doesn't take shit. It's serious business to him. So that's how I gotta look at this, man. This podcast is not just something I'm just like phoning in. I take this serious as a heart attack. So eventually I have to be serious about monetization. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, man. Like, I don't know, Patreon, but then what? What am I providing extra on the Patreon? Then you got to give them extra content. What would that even be? So, I don't know. I got to think of that, because of, can't just rely on, and there's nothing. There's no income from this. But I don't know. I think it's possible if I stop like making mouth sound and whatever. If I like actually I gotta take it even more seriously. And because if you take it seriously, maybe the quality of content will get better. Anyway, well, I'm still not even done with like half of the updates for just on how bad I'm doing. Let alone anything that's going on in the external world. Like, I don't give a crap about the news. Like, what's going on outside. I don't care. How do I can't even get into other people's drama if I'm not done with my own struggles, my own problems. I got my own problems, and they're not that interesting. So to be interesting, I gotta like get better at. Okay, let's do a couple more. Okay, we're already an hour in. Jesus Christ, this was a lot of nothing. This episode was a lot of nothing. That usually bugs me when that happens. And then I get anxious about going longer. Okay, confidence. Why don't I have that? I've been doing this 72 times. I'm still like super hard on myself when it comes down to like, oh, it's not interesting. It's like, then be interested in it. Be interested in yourself, man. It's like, is that so hard? Yes, it is. It is kind of hard. If you don't find it interesting, other people, they're not going to find it if you don't even find it interesting. Sleep apnea, really quick. I have not been using my CPAP since in a couple weeks. I just kind of stopped using it like a month or two ago because it's like super uncomfortable. And I just was like, is it really doing anything? Because I felt so bad either way. But then I found out that it was necessary. It wasn't just in my head. This whole sleep apnea thing, it wasn't just like a 1% like a white person, like a form of white privilege that I was just like, maybe I have sleep. Oh, maybe it. Yeah. No, it was. I actually have it. I actually should be using that device that costs a lot of money. Like, I should be using it because I used it last night and I woke up feeling way better than I normally would. No headache. I actually was able to get out of bed without as much effort. The fatigue, way better just from using it one night. So that's just a little reminder that I needed, that it wasn't just in my head. The sleep apnea thing, yeah, it wasn't just in my head. I was like, that's for real. I have to actually take that seriously. And I want to get my weight down even more because my tonsils, that's the problem. It's not because I'm fat. It's because of my tonsils. I got these big-ass tonsils, so maybe I'll get them removed at some point, but that's another financial expenditure. And I could talk about finance for a long time. But we're trying to... Jesus. But anyway, to focus on the positive, at least I'm making progress on, figuring out what's wrong with me. I figured out the ADHD, figured out sleep apnea, binge eating, alcoholism, all these destructive things that I've been doing, and the introversion, the lack of. So I'm also pretty sad and frustrated and in pain for the fact that I'm not doing much comedy, because of course I love comedy. I love doing it. There's nothing better in the world than to be doing comedy, but I keep having this problem of I don't even know what to call myself. How am I going to do comedy if I have such little confidence that I don't even like my own name? I don't like the Timmy Gusto stage name. It's too heavy. It's too prickly. It's too fake. I don't like it. But I'm still want to do it sometimes as that character, maybe, because I think it's funny to do that character. But I haven't been doing him in a while because I haven't been up to it. That little part of my brain hasn't come out because I haven't been mentally well enough. And that's sad. That's sad because people want more of him. People want more of that Tony Clifton replica that I gotta be feeling good before I could exercise myself as a creative vehicle. Before I could get into the car, I need to be feeling good, man, to a certain baseline level. Dopamine is part of it, but not all of it, because sleep apnea, you can't just cure that with more drugs. The only cure for that is to open up your airway. So it's more complicated than just, I just need more stimulants. No, that was not solving the issue. Yeah, that's just a Band-Aid. I still need, I'm holding a stimulant right here. Coffee, man. I didn't even drink it because I don't like dead air. Anyway, but yeah, so it's complicated. I'm making progress, though. That's a great feeling, just to know that, okay, that's something that helps. Using the damn CPAP. It wasn't a waste of money. Because that's another thing. It's was it really worth the money? And getting it diagnosed is expensive. And yeah, it turns out it was worth the money. So I'm going to keep using it. As uncomfortable as it is, because the worst thing about it is that sometimes I'll drool into the damn thing, and then it's ugh, so I just have to take it off, and of course I'm not going to get out of bed and wash it out. I'm just going to go right back to sleep and not use it for the rest of the night. But I have to. It's necessary. Darth Vader couldn't just take off his mask. So I need that to be at my best, and then Timmy Gusto will also be at his best. Timmy Gusto is just a little version of me. It's not all I am. I'm way more I have more to give than just him. He's one little character. He's just a stage name. Anyway, I would. So that's another thing. It's like, come on, I want to be doing comedy. And then another thing is, it's gotta be worth going. Like, there's this open mic that I would have to be at, like, right now. I'm already too late for it. Unfortunately, I am kind of in the mood, but, like, it's also a drive. So I gotta compete. I gotta have the chutzpah, the strength to get in my car, drive like 15 miles in Friday night traffic just for an open mic where I'm probably not even going to get a good, like, I'm going to go towards the end if it's even still like, that's really, like, stressful, man. That's really, like not satisfying. It's like, okay, I drove 15 miles. Let's do 3 minutes in front of 2 people. Sometimes it's worth it, but you gotta really be purposeful in these endeavors. You can't just be like, okay, yeah, this is gonna, like, you have to be looking at the long-term prize. You gotta be like, okay, I'm doing this so I could get a good bit going, get my set together so I could do shows. And then I haven't even been thinking about doing shows at all. Like, I want to, but I just know that I can't because of the same reason. If I can't even do open mics, I could do shows. I'd much rather do shows because then they're waiting for me. Then they actually want me to come. At an open mic, it's so bruising on your ego. Oh, it's brutal. And then I suck because my ego is so beaten up. Of course I'm going to suck. You got to be in a good mood, man. I have to be in a good mood. I can't just be funny in a bad mood. It's impossible. I know that as a professional, sometimes you have to, but I'm not a professional for that. Probably I would suck. I can't. I'm not that good at that type of thing, man. Like, but anyway, that's what they say. But hey, I'm barely a comic, and that hurts my soul. It hurts my soul to not be doing what I love. Sucks. So, and I am kind of in the mood to do it right now, but I can't do it right now. I have to get in the car for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And then I'll be, cranky. And I'll be like, well, this is it. This is what I came here. This is what I drove all the way in town for. And had to wrestle with all this horrible traffic. And then just go home for 15. The drive home is the worst part. After driving into town and doing bad at comedy, having a bad night at comedy, the drive home is the worst part. Because then you're not going to have anything to look forward to when you get home. There's nothing here to raise my spirits. Like, okay, it's relaxing. That it's relaxing. And I can eat food and eat away the shame. But that feeling of pulling into my garage and just being like, I don't even want to get out of my car. I don't even want to. I'm just going to sit here I'm just going to sit here and just sit in the negativity. Because just this feeling of like horrible, like, ugh, this is horrible. This is awful. But I think good things come out of struggle. And right now, yes, it's a struggle, but I'm making progress one day at a time, one podcast at a time. Ugh. And I don't even want to bring up another thing. I don't even want to bring up another thing that I'm anxious about. Let's not even bring it up. Oh, man. But anyway, Timmy Gusto will rise again. He's not dead yet. He's not dead. And he will continue to exist. I will continue to exist and do this podcast.